Full disclosure, news and commentary number 75, 75, 75, 75, 75. The quarter quell, as the Hunger Games would say. 75. What the shit? It's almost a year and a half. Madness. Madness. I hope you're all well. I am. Figuring some stuff out. I'm going to put out a second video tonight, experimenting with game capture stuff. I think I've got it all figured out. I'm excited about that. Yeah. So, number 75. Lots to talk about. Our commentary is about 3 rules I would like to see all the promotions adopt going forward. Because I'm seeing little elements already creep in. Gary Lamb himself, to his credit, asked if I would go more into depth about what he would have to do as a leader, in my opinion, for Southern Honor to be able to grow. And I'm going to save that for next week's commentary. I want to devote most of next week's full disclosure to that. This one just had a couple of silly things that I have to take care of, and I feel like that's a really serious topic. I want to give that some thought, put in some preparation, that kind of thing. Not that I didn't prepare for this one. We're going to have a bunch of good stuff. Special thanks, of course, to the Patreon people, as always. D, and Dan, and Joseph Black, and Derek, and Brett, and Larry, not that one, but the other one, Diana, Michael, Brian, Rob Rod, and then the 3 biggies, Eric, the World Walker, Viral Pro Wrestling, and the OG Myron. I've been getting a lot of feedback. People have said things publicly. I think Myron said something publicly about how good and how much he's enjoying the Patreon-specific videos. You will enjoy them as well. So be sure to sign it up. I always have the link down below. You can buy in for as little as $1 a month. Cool. Well, shit. Let's just jump into it. let me see it to make sure I have. So, oh my God. Hopefully this will be the last week of this nonsense. So David Garrison put up this thing. Let me take a look. There it is. So all I gotta do is go online and found out shit about my life I didn't even know. Found out today, I have a girlfriend and she's mad at me. See, I wasn't able to look at the post because, again, he's blocked me because he's a badass. And so I wasn't sure if it was his girlfriend. I should have known he didn't have a girlfriend. But it was, in fact, Ryan Staples' girlfriend. Ryan Staples, who we're going to be talking to next week, Tuesday, on the Tipping Point, by the way. For once, I have the right date on that. So it was Ryan Staples' girlfriend who outed David Garrison as having lied about the fact that he never proposed the Black Lives Matter flag thing. So David Garrison, I suppose, in the 8-minute video, which I have not seen because, again, I'm blocked, but kind of glosses over the fact that he had spent a 40-minute video basically backing up a lie of his, that he had nothing to do with it. And he would never propose such a thing. And then he just sort of copped to, okay, yeah, I proposed it. But then, it's nothing wrong with it, was his new defense, right? So you lie, you spend a 40-minute video plus perpetrating a lie, and then a follow-up video basically going like, well, no, I did it. But this is the part that I thought was really funny that I circled in red very crudely. This dumb motherfucker don't know shit. He is BBIF. He's like, I'm going to get this thing over, right? Broke board in Florida. He really must have a miserable, sad life. Broke board in Florida. What the fuck does that mean? So I have to admit a couple of things. I was wrong about David Garrison having a woman thing, girlfriend thing, and he was right about broke board in Florida, because that's what I do. Is I take boards and shit, I breaks them. I'll break it again. Ah, ah, broke board in Florida. Ow. Oof. Maybe Cody McCulley, whose name is soon to be different, will put me on his show now that I did that to my head. All right. So, broke board in Florida, for fuck's sake. He says below that, by the way, Santa Clan, I like that. Thanks. I am Santa, and I got a clan. Okay. So, people pointed out that he started selling, which I gotta admit, it's awfully clever to do, right? Let me find it. Here it is. So Santa Clan, you see it there. Total Aggression Pro Wrestling and Country Roads Custom Vinyl and Gifts, blah, blah, blah. Santa Clan. Oh, with the cute little Santa hat and his beard. Hashtag Team Garrison on it. That's cool. I mean, it's kind of like Chris Kronk. I'll never get mad at people who want to respond to me by coming out with merchandise and making money and all that stuff. And, that's really great. It's interesting, though, in the other post, though, David Garrison said he had, Santa and a clan with a K. But, I mean, it's not with a K here, right? So it's all good. Because if he did have a version that had with a clan with a K, that would be pretty disturbing, right? Well, guess what? Before this one was being sold, this is the one that was up. That's right. Not a Photoshop. Nothing like that. Join the Santa Clan with a K this year and help an underprivileged kid be happy on Christmas Day. I guess he didn't spell Christmas with a K. Hit me in my inbox for orders. I would love to see these shirts in the crowd. I bet you would. Goal is to sell 200 of these before Christmas. Join the Santa Clan. Help a kid. Team Garrison Rabbit Pimp hashtags. So I would just ask this, let's just call it a rhetorical question. So, on the scale, right? Racism scale, dumb motherfucker scale. Is it, I'm such a racist that I didn't realize that clan was not spelled with a K? Because when I think of clan, I always think of Ku Klux Klan, and so that's the way that clan is spelled. Is that why he had Santa Clan up there initially? Or is it he just such a dumb motherfucker that he didn't know? And then once he was informed of it, presumably by somebody else who was like, yeah, on a shirt to raise money for kids, supposedly. And it's probably a bad look to have clan with a K on the shirt. So, how much is it? Column A of, yeah, I'm proud of clan with the K, so I'm going to throw that out there to the world. Ha-ha! I won't be shamed? Or was it, oh, I completely didn't know that clan was spelled with a C? Or a little column A, little column B. I'll let the world be the judge of that one. Moving on. Now you might say, so David Garrison's the simp of the week again? Nope, he's not. So let's get into that. Stephen Platinum's Simp of the Week. Yeah. Who is the Simp of the Week then? Well, let's look at this picture. Yep. What is that? That's of Billy Bell's last show. What do we see here? One, it would be a shame if COVID made it so we're not going to get the Mullet March anytime this year. That would be a true tragedy. But what do we see here? I see a packed crowd, such as it is, where at least everybody cattle called and pushed to close to the front. I don't see a mask there. And I see a bunch of people who are in, let me just put this nicely, a high risk category to suffer extra complications from COVID. Looks irresponsible as fuck to me. But it's neither here nor there. Billy Bell, Billy Bell, go to a show, and you're living in hell. All right. Action. Had a double header. Larry had a report about the first part. Rob Rod for the second part. Pretty great stuff. 35 people. They were ultra making sure they were following COVID guidelines to the letter, and they deserve a lot of credit for that. 35 fans only, but assuming those 35 fans paid for both shows, and I would assume that they did, they still did a reasonable enough gate. They had Effie. It sounds like it was a cool show. GWH newsandnotes.blogspot.com to check out Rob Rod and Larry's reports on that. Both of those reports I thought were very well done. Rob Rod flexing lately, and I am here for it, as the kids say. Superstars Fan Fest. They had to delay it once, and then they had to delay it twice. And now it's going to happen on October 24th, 2020 in Rome, Georgia. A good wrestling card, whole lot of guests signing stuff, taking pictures, all that good stuff. So that's happening. Live Wire happened on August 29th. Didn't hear much else about that show. Larrietto's last show, the show before this one, had about 30 people. This one supposedly had 350. Whew. Doggy. Southern Fried Championship Wrestling is here on the 19th. So the weekend after this one. Yeah, that's right. Pro South canceled their show for last Friday, but they're going to be back this Friday, the 11th. And then the 25th is when they've moved their big show. It's some battle royal. We all know what a fan I am of that. So USA Wrestling for Friday, it's Burt Prentice thing, canceled their show for this Friday in East Ridge, Tennessee. The main event was going to be Jerry Lawler against the Boogeyman. So they're not doing that any longer. Oh, I didn't do the unboxing. Jeez. I write it like a super huge note for an unboxing. This one is sent by Diana Michelle. Exciting, exciting. Crap in a hat. I should have prepped the box better. Feels like a shirt. And there's a note. Ooh. I got a cool picture. To the greatest of all time, Stephen Platinum. Thank you for sharing your honesty, knowledge, and guidance. Love always, Diana Michelle. Damn, she's good looking. All right, let's see the shirt. I'm going to unveil it for you. Oh, sexy time. I'm going to put this sexy shirt. Oh, and a mask. Sexy time, sexy time. Love it. All right, let's get to the commentary. So, the commentary. 3 rules that I would love for groups to follow. because I'm already seeing evidence of a couple of these things coming back, and I want to kind of nip it in the bud. I mean, I realize that I'm just broke bored here in Florida, but it doesn't make the advice any less valid. As somebody brought up recently, the accusations that I'm in Florida, that means somehow I don't. Again, if I drove 3 hours and I went to Valdosta, Georgia, all of a sudden everything would be much more valid. Makes no sense whatsoever. It is what it is. Rule number 1: stop lying about your crowds. Crowd size, the sheer number, right now especially, matters less than it ever has. Hear that. Understand it. Crowd size right now matters less than it ever has. Stop lying about your crowds. God. Because the net gain that you get if you get away with the lie is far less than the consequences if you are shown to be a liar. Groups that have shown to be a liar. Look at Diana Michelle. Good looking. If you're shown to be a liar, it does way more harm than good. And you simply cannot be a top tier group, perception wise or otherwise, if you're having to lie about your crowds. Rule number 2: stop making ultimatums. Almost everybody can be accused of this. Groups that have made ultimatums, groups that have said, we won't run again unless we can do it without restrictions. Why make that ultimatum? Because let me tell you, any group that said that has had to go back on it, or find themselves unable to run if they stick to their ultimatum. Roll with things. Making the ultimatums does nothing for you except hold you to a standard that you're either going to have to go against and thus be proven to be a liar or a flip-flopper, or you're going to box yourself into a corner. I will just say this outright. I admire the groups that have run. If that meant that they had to run outside, so be it. If it meant that they had to make concessions about how they did things on the inside, so they did. And that's great stuff. The other option is to be Billy Bell in that earlier picture, where you just do whatever the fuck you want and risk everybody. Yeah? So stop lying about the size of your crowds. Stop making ultimatums. Last thing. And a little of this is this speaks slightly to what I'm going to talk about in the commentary next week, but I would love to see more groups exhibiting leadership traits. What do I mean? Who is your leadership icon? Is it Jesus? If so, how can you be more Jesus-like? Do you not know who your leadership framework is or your icon? Maybe it's a parent, or maybe you don't know. But what you do know is you don't want to be like so-and-so or such and such. That's fine too. Let's say you're very much against the way Vince McMahon runs his business. Fine. Then what are you doing to epitomize being the anti-Vince McMahon on the things that you don't like that he does? Do you like the way AEW does business? Fine. Then how are you structuring your wrestling group and leading in such a way that you are right in line with what they're doing, etc., etc., etc. I tell wrestlers all the time, you have to have people that you look at, people that you listen to, people that you can get advice from or at least learn lessons from. right? I've said that about bookers. I've said my booking influences in the past: Bill Watts, Eddie Graham, Giant Baba, right? I can do that quickly and easily. Can you? Who are your leadership icons? Wrestlers, who are your who are the wrestlers that you look at as far as I want to do things like that? And do you? Do you really? Right? Why Bill Watts? Bill Watts was the best at the hook and drag to me. He would end his shows on television in such an exciting way that I was dying to see next week. And it's all I could think about. I would mull it over in my head again and again and again and again, which could only be satisfied by partaking in the show the next week, which I thought was just a great way to book. And once in a while, he would have a show that just turned everything completely upside down. ECW did that also, but Bill Watts did it first. I remember one where he had a show where all three titles changed hands. And I was floored. I couldn't believe it. And he had a show where the two biggest heel factions ended up fighting each other. And back then, especially, that was bonkers cuckoo when the Freebirds and Devastation Incorporated started going at it. I could not believe it, and it was riveting. Why Eddie Graham? Eddie Graham was a detail guy. The Eddie Grahamness is missing in wrestling today more than any of the three influences I'm going to talk about. Eddie Graham was the guy who would make sure, well, if this babyface is going to get beat down by a bunch of heels, we have to make sure the top babyfaces can't save them if the beatdown is going to go down for a while. Or we have to have an explanation why that person's not being saved. That's just one example of the Eddie Graham detail thing. He was great at continuity. He was great at remembering the details. He was great at remembering things from show to show to show to show. Because if wrestling fans are expected to remember these things, then the people in charge damn well should as well. And Giant Baba, because he changed the way that wrestling was done. He was all about clean finishes. He was all about not just always going to countouts or double countouts or double disqualifications or matches being thrown out or rendered no contest to advance things. He found ways to have finishes, and he got crowds used to expecting the finishes. So when they did have a screwy ending, it was a rare thing and it got maximum effect. And more than that, people knew that they didn't want to miss a show just because it's like the soap opera game, right? Those who watch soap operas on the regular, I'm talking about daily soap operas, know that there are days of the week that matter less than other days of the week. That some days of the week, nothing's going to happen because they're saving it for a certain day or two. And that's the way wrestling had gotten, especially in Japan, especially in the 90s, early 90s, right? Baba changed that. And I wanted to be that guy too, where you were going to see finishes. Cool. So those are mine. Those are the people who I take cues from, influences from, but more their leadership and how they ran things. Did that mean that I took everything? No. Right? I had different philosophies about a lot of things. But at the end of the day, what are the leadership traits? And this is for promoters, for bookers, for wrestlers themselves. What are the traits that you really want to take? And it's hard because you have to be very, very honest. And wrestling encourages constantly giving credit to others, right? You know, I really want to thank, how many of these posts have you seen? I really want to thank these people for helping with my wrestling career and blah, 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 blah. That's wonderful instinct to have, except for this. You have to be honest about the ways in which you can do better. And you can epitomize things more. There are guys in the wrestling business, in Georgia in particular, but in the Southeast in general, who have great aspirations for how they want to be viewed and the titles that they want to have as far as the name of the jobs that they do. But they do very little to garner that impression on others. And that is a failure of leadership. Leadership also means, and this is the last part of it, leadership also means you have to show us. You can't just tell us how great you are. You can't just tell us We have to see it. Because when we see it and we feel that it is genuine, then we really feel it. Then you start to garner true respect and the potential for true loyalty. Does this sentence apply? I want you to think about the different people who are the figureheads / really run the promotions. I want you to think about them right now. I want you to have a list of names. Action, Southern Honor, Southern Fried, Viral. Who are the people that you think about? Anarchy, etc., etc., etc. And then answer these following questions. Do they have a higher opinion of themselves than is warranted? And now I want you to look at yourself. And I want you to think about how you communicate to the outside world. Social media posts, face-to-face conversations. Do you have a higher opinion of yourself than is warranted? And then I want you to think about the people that you know. Does so-and-so have a higher opinion of themselves than is warranted? And if you're finding that more often than not, the answer is yes, especially when you look at yourself. Then make some changes. Steve, is it that easy? Simple in theory, difficult in execution, like most of life. This has been Full Disclosure.